As in my previous slides, I have shown in the ginger, because of different quality, they could have result either benefit or non-benefit for the treatment of chemotherapy-induced nausea and vomiting. So this means the quality of the plant material is very important. So in this slide, I want to show you, we have a plant that's growing outside. Most of the time, the therapeutic effect in the plant is secondary metabolite. When plant can produce secondary metabolite is when plant suffering from stresses. So this plant stresses. So you can have a mechanic stress, you can have a high low temperature stress, you can have drought stress, you can have UV, microorganism attack, and insect. So plants, when they're growing there, when they're suffering from stress, they cannot be functioning as animal run away. So by respond to stress, they produce secondary metabolite to against different kind of stresses. So this secondary metabolite, most are very important for the therapeutic activities. So here I want to show different growth condition effect on rhubarb. Rhubarb is very famous plant, herbal material in China, but also in Europe. Their leaves and stems, especially stems of rhubarb, was used for dessert. But in China, the roots of rhubarb is treatment of different kind of disease. Here we have shown 47 different batches of rhubarb was collected in China. Here show below 3,000 meter altitude or above 3,000 meter altitude. So you can see they have different growth environment, have also different impact on plant performance. So here what we have done is we try to measure all kind of component in rhubarb. So here given a list of like an alloimodine and imodine and all kind of component. Here we have different component we have measured is target analyzed. We have measured all content, their level have been quantified. So statistically see we can have actually all the plant above the 3,000 meter or below the 3,000 meter altitude, they have different content in metabolite. So this is the scheme to show the chemical compound in relation to therapeutic traditional use of the rhubarb. So traditional use of rhubarb, we have catalysis and detoxification and blood stagnation relieving. But each of the traditional use reflect different chemicals, like catalysis have this kind of ray, alloimodine, and detoxification have also chrysanthemum physicians, and also you have blood stagnation is another kind of compound. So here we can show in the different chemicals reflect the growth conditions. So we have A and B different chemical components. You can see one group has all of them relatively high in chemical component related to the detoxification and also constipation. Here we have done an animal model to show, so this represent A group, represent B group of the rhubarb material grown in different environment. You can see here is the dosage, they both have the same. However, they induce the loss of stools. So in the B group is relatively very powerful. In the medium group already have effect, while in the an A group in the medium group has almost no effect. So this shows they have different growth condition, reflect different chemical concentration and component variations, which also correspond to the mouse model in treatment of constipation. Another example I would like to give in is a traditional herbal is called Riemannian glutinosa libosch. So this plant actually growing in many areas in China in two very significant provinces in Henan province and Zhejiang province. So in these two areas, the plant grows in these two areas. We call them plant is indigenous herb. So they said only in this indigenous herb area, the growth this plant has best therapeutic effect. So in order to understand why this different growth condition reflect the different therapeutic effect, so we have investigated the experiment. We have created in phytogen different growth conditions at 18, 20, and 25 degrees. We give different temperature and light and different density of light and different humidity reflect to the growth condition where it's the indigenous herb is growing and other place. Here they show the effect of growth condition on Riemannian glutinosa in phytogen. So you can see upper and lower, they have different growth conditions. And after 4 months, you can see the 22 degrees versus 25 degrees Celsius growth, the plant performance is different, which also reflect to their chemical component in plant. So here we have used a fingerprint of the plant with GCMS to measure the roots derived from the Riemannian glutinose. So here is an example to show the multivariant analysis to show different temperature effect 25, 22, 18, and 14. So their profiling in fingerprinting chemical component in the roots are different. So in the previous slides, I've shown different growth conditions have impact reflected to metabolite chemical component in the plant. But in the Chinese materia medica, there is another concept, it's called processing. So the plant has to be dried, to be cut. Sometimes it even has to be stir-fried with honey. Sometimes has to be steamed. But all this function of the processing have following functions to keep constant quality and better effectivity and storability, to reduce toxicity or undesired side effect, modify effect of the herbal by traditional empiric method, increase the effect of herbal by traditional empiric method, modify the molecular structure to increase solubilities, remove unpleasant smell, preparing raw material with different therapeutic properties. So these all belong to the processing of the Chinese herbal materia medica. Of course, sometimes they use the herbs from dried root, rhizoma, stem, leaf, flower, fruit, and seeds. So here I will show you what after the herbal material being collected. So this is the choline, fructose. They try to remove the foreign matters in the factory. So this is show one of the clean process. So this is also astragalus radix. So normally has been used as a herbal for improvement of immune system. Here they have also special process procedure, stir frying in honey for processing. So this is Riemannian glutinosa. It has to be also processed via the steam. It has to be steamed in the Chinese rice wine for 9 times. So, for example, the Riemannian glutinosa, it has 2 kinds of form. It has processed form and unprocessed form. In my previous slides, I show it has to be steamed in the rice wine for 9 times. So that was steam process. So actually, it has these 2 forms are used as Chinese materia medica. So unprocessed is called Sendi Huang. It has sweet and bitter taste, a cool property, function on heat cleaning and blood cooling. That is according to the traditional Chinese medicine theory. But the processed Riemannian glutinosa, it's called the Shu Di Huang. It has a sweet and slightly warm property, function for blood tonifying. So that means they have also different chemical composition and reflect to different therapeutic effect. So we know the chemical composition of Riemannian glutinosa. Here are all different compounds. One of the typical compound is called catopol. So catopol is most of the time represent its quality in non-processed, but in the processed one, the catopol reduced to only 1/3 of the non-processed amount. So it's significantly reduced. Here we have used NMR technology to measure the fresh root Riemannian glutinosa, the dried one, the 1-time processed in the steamed in the rice one, the 5-time processed, and the 9-time processed. So here you can see all different compounds here reflect the catopol number 1. After 9 times processed, they are significantly reduced. But all different other compounds, they also shows the variation in change in either chemical composition or concentrations. So here we show also the principal component analysis of the 2 kinds of Riemannian glutinosa, which grow in 22 degrees or 25 degrees after no process, 1-time process, 5-time process, and 9-time processed. So they have shown their different chemical profiling after processing. So here we also use some statistical method, try to analyze the different compositions after 0 time, 1 time, 5 time, 9 times, what kind of compound are decreased, what kind of compound are increased. So there are different variations, but looks like after 5 times process, there are not so significant big difference anymore. So by this study, in fact, the modern technique can also help traditional methodology, because traditionally we process them for steaming in the Chinese rice one for 9 times, but basically after 5 times they are rather stable, so could be saved the energy and manpower. We could also in the future process only for 5 times. So I want to give an example to show the multi-herbal effect for treatment of disease. So this is a Chinese herbal formula containing 4 different herbs. It's called the Ma Xin Yi Gan Tang. It's containing ephedra and prunus and collis and glycita. So here you can see in the Chinese formula, they also give a principle. This ephedra is called emperor. You have a minister is collis and barley seeds, and you have assistant, and you have servant and as glycita. So this formula is mainly according to their emperor, minister, assistant, and servant. So their concentration in herb and position are different. But very interesting here, show this formula is for treat flu, chronic bronchitis, and rheumatoid arthritis. In fact, this formula nowadays also used in China for treatment of COVID-19. So we have done the in vitro study to use U937 cell lines from human. Try to use their monocytes. When you give PMA, they develop to macrophage. And when you challenge the inflammation group by giving the LPS, you can challenge them, release the inflammation factors. But at the same time, we can also give them herbal extract to see they can significantly inhibit the inflammation factor release. So here is in the same experiment, we have used U937 cell lines. We try to see the different combination of herbal to see the effect on influence of the inflammation factors like TNF-alpha and IL-6. So original formula is with 4 herbs, MXYG. So Ma Xin Yi Gan Tang, Tang means soup. So the original formula has best effect inhibition TNF-alpha and IL-6. But we make a combination for formula 2, we modified that by so because of normally we have MXYG, but when we have G being reduced, you can see the inhibition effect on TNF alpha and IL-6 is reduced. And modification 3, in fact, we have removed. So in fact, we have MYG. So we have removed another herb. You can see effect is not as good as the original formula, but better than other modification. So by this way, we can see with 4 different herbal formula, when we make modification by reduce any of them, their biological effect is significantly reduced. So from the biological perspective, so if we want to understand the effect, so we need to take in the herbal fingerprint to make a quality control, to understand the biological response, and also to measure the biomarker change. After all, we want to provide scientific evidence and quality control for herbal medicine. So here I want to show another example, again, rhubarb. So previously shown rhubarb has many different biologic effects. One of the effects is for the treatment of constipation, but another effect to reduce the toxic component for treatment of cancer. So here is in collaboration with LUMC, we have done the rhubarb and using the extract from rhubarb for treatment of the uveal melanoma cells. This is one of the eye cancer. Till now, no drug can treat this disease. So you can see with different extract of rhubarb, you can see their effect when you increase the concentration of extract, inhibition of uveal melanoma cell line growth is very clear. As we know, the treatment of the anti-cancer effect mainly is from endocrine family, so they are in the literature reported. So there are 5 major components from endocrine families. So we have done another study, try to test them each individual component from alloimodine, imodine, ray, etc. So individual component, you can see only the ray has slightly inhibition effect on the uveal melanoma cell proliferation. However, when we make combination of this 5 compounds with the same ratio as they are existing in the extract of the rhubarb, you can see the effect is much more significant. So this might show the synergistic effect of 5 components together. So taken together, I think so the future medicine is a fusion of Western and Eastern medicine. So in the past, Western medicine is more dominant to Eastern medicine. In the present, maybe the both has been shown their beneficial and their therapeutic effect. We hope in the future we could fuse Western and Eastern. We generate we medicine. This we medicine will be better for treatment disease, improve of quality of life. So at the end, I think what is the we medicine? So the Western medicine is evidence medicine, while traditional Eastern medicine is experience-based medicine. In the Western medicine, we have systems biology, precision medicine, combination therapy, nano-delivery, prevention medicine, and quality of life, while in the Eastern medicine, we have holistic approach, individual treatment, multi-herbal actions, synergistic herbals, prevention treatment, and rebalance. So we combine these 2 elements, we generate we medicine. This is, I hope, our new generation of medicine will be in this way for development. So at the end, I want to thank all of you for your attention. So I'm working at the Leiden University European Center for Chinese Medicine and Natural Compound. So if you have any question, you can send email to your professor, and Tinder will give me your question. I can give feedback. I hope this way will help you to understand a little bit more about the role of Chinese medicine as ethnopharmacology and ethnobotanicals. Thank you.